Let's see. Only thing Paragon appears to bring is more healing to plop on top of what already outheals extremely threatening aura and a longer opening sequence. I hope I'm wrong, but just keep Chant of Action up, ignore remaining 2. It might be the go-to way of playing Para in PvE. And with the lack upkeep being tied to swapping between Chants, only thing I see for Paragon in the near future is disastrous adrenaline economy issues. I guess we'll see. Alright. So we still gotta save Heinrich, so now we got the evil guy on our team. Who made a deal with the devil, you or him? Ha 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 ha. They still not revealed the last 2 for NG and Revenant. Look, Denjay, I promise you, they didn't forget. They are right now frantically trying to make a spec for those 2 as hard as they can. What? The rising currents carry the smell of pain, blood, ichor, and failed ambitions. The smell of the dark city. With my wings flung open, oh wait, we're seeing this through the perspective of the bird guy. I weave a path through the spires like a dark lightning bolt, chaotic and unpredictable in its patterns. To fly is to hunt, and everyone in flight hunts everyone else. Even I, Scourge Gartherid's Bloodfeather, do not have the privilege of an inviolability around these parts. I may become someone else's prey, except probably not today. This day I am the hunter. My homunculus modified olfactory receptors pick up the scent of my prey, and I tread cautiously as I approach it. The stench of Monkey is foul but varied, and the scent of my prey is quite telling. A powerful specimen, brash and reeking of the blood of others. I descend to the minaret that grows out of the nearest spire and provides me with an excellent view. Accelerated reflexes allow me to assess the situation in a fraction of an instant. It is time. But I still decide to wait and get a better look at the prey. A male monkey, a pampered upper caste cub who is fed and equipped with the best their race can offer. It certainly arrived in the Dark City recently, the city which has not yet managed to leave a mark of perpetual expectation of doom on its flattened snout. The most glorious game which clings to life, the strongest and leaves the sweetest death essence. The reflexes urge the muscles to act. I act. The shard carbine spews forth a stream of crystalline projectiles that howl and shatter as they pierce the flesh of the prey. A deadly slashing blizzard drapes the street in bloody snow, the bodies of random passers-by caught in the fire falling to the ground. This is a common occurrence in the spires. Everyone around me flees from the field of death whose borders I have made clear. The prey falls, but is still alive. I did not expect the hunt to end with the first salvo. The prey is badly injured. I can easily finish it off in the open. The prey... my awareness is very low. Summons companions to its aid. A mistake. I unleash a new fan of crystalline shards, and the flesh of the prey blossoms with new cuts from my projectiles. Anyone who tries to approach it will be killed by the brittle shrapnel. The prey should have run away, not given me more chances to cripple it. The prey is weak. The prey breaks into a run. Clever. By escaping into the open streets, the prey has deprived me of the advantage of my long-range weapon. But I will not let it escape, so I spread my wings and soar over the alley, pelting the prey with bursts of indirect fire. The chase must not end too soon. The petitioner wanted my prey to die slowly. The prey, toughness 92%, flees down the most predictable and straightforward route, hoping that its strength does not abandon it. Perhaps the body of my prey was modified, or it simply abounds with vigor. Even the heavy wounds inflicted by the first salvo cannot slow it down. I emit a frustrated shriek as I watch the path of my projectiles follow the prey without reaching its flesh. The hunt continues. The prey manages to elude me for a moment by ducking into a crowded street. The jet booster on my back emits a stream of ghostly blue flame, and I continue my pursuit. As I storm into the street, I see the prey again. This is a nice catch. The petitioner wanted me to deliver the prey to her, but I decided to do something different. When it is over, I will impale the body of the prey on a spike protruding from the highest spire so that it serves as a testament to my victory. Willpower test failed. It is frightened. The prey may have managed not to succumb to blind animal panic, but its jittery movements clearly reveal that the reason is being dampened by instinct. Seeking to slow me down, the prey... I am terrible at all three of these things. Turn some bystanders against me, 20% chance. Failed. It only takes the prey a couple of furious shouts to convince those huddled in the alley that a monster is coming for their heads. Lies. I am only pursuing the prey. I am met with frantic gunfire, and after making a sharp ascent, I take a pair of plasma grenades from my belt and hurl them into the crowd. The few who survive the explosion fall to the ground in terror. The fear that the prey is planted in them is weaker than the fear that I evoke. The conclusion is drawing closer. As I turn the corner, I triumphantly realize that I have driven the prey into a dead end. It is time for the massacre. The poison I received from the petitioner as payment for the hunt is contained in the crystalline projectiles and should have worked by now. It will slow down the nervous system of my prey, weaken its muscles, and render it unconscious. However, carouse succeeded. I think I resisted the poison. But when I see the prey, I fail to discern any trace of the poison's effects. Could the prey be so strong its body has overcome my deadly battle toxin? The prey... ... Okay, one sec. Going by what one of the devs said, no one has guessed the Rev. Thank goodness, that means it's not Dervish. That makes me happy. Derv was not needed to share its build with others. Gonna bite a nade if NG new spec does give justice. Okay. Let's see. The prey... Athletics, 65%, is not where I expected it to be. Having climbed the ledge of a wall, it lunges at me and bellows. Success! The monkey's heavy body pins me to the ground. The joint of its lower limb crushes the jet booster like an eggshell. I break free from the grip and dash away with an angry shriek. Unpleasant weakness creeps up my spine. Something vital has been damaged. Everything will be over in moments. The outcome will be decided in close combat. Wasting no time, my prey and I seize one another in a violent, furious embrace. Every decision made over the course of this fleeting hunt is being weighed, tipping the scale that will ultimately determine the winner. I am unpleasantly surprised when I realize the prey is aware of my combat style. It covers the vulnerable spots I like to cut open with my monomolecular claws, but this knowledge will not save it from death. My embedded glands spew hyperadrenaline into my bloodstream, and my artificially grown muscles convulsively swell under the porous fabric of my ghost plate. I torment the prey with claws protruding from my forearms and knees, and the prey lets out a repulsive whistle. The monkey's four-legged servant sinks its metal teeth into the back of my head. They added a whole bit of writing here for being an Arbides, chat, because of my dog. The monkey's four-legged servant sinks its metal teeth into the back of my head, seeking to chew through my spine. My reinforced vertebrae crack. My vision begins to dim. I strike the mechanized creature, tossing it aside, and grab the prey by the neck. Its plaything has weakened my reflexes, and I will take pleasure in breaking the creature's legs later, but right now, the prey... Strength 100%. Banks on brute force, trying to break my fragile bones and shatter my joints. Success. Powerful blows crush the hollow bones drilled by the crafty homunculus. Their lightness served me well during the flight, but has betrayed me here on the ground. I lose my footing, my body going floppy like a rag. My strength waning, I reach for the shard carbine and shoot the prey right in the face at point-blank range. The crystalline projectile whizzes within a hair's breadth of its face. A crushing blow turns my magnificent weapon to rubble with a mournful crunch. The prey grabs me by the throat, lifts me into the air, and snarls. It seems it wants to know why I attempted to kill it. But why, would I tell it if I could? About my petitioner, Kay Karos the Witch? About how insulted she was by the deaths of her fosterlings, the blood-stained proselytes, in the arena at the hands of my prey? She wanted, about how badly she wanted to spite the prey's master, the sour-tempered homunculus Tervantius, who had arranged that insult. I do not know, for my throat is crushed and only a faint wail escapes it. I die. I am dying at the feet of my prey. No, at the feet of a monkey. A humiliating end for one who earned the status of apex hunter of Komarog through torturous alterations of flesh and bloody pilgrimage to the very top of the spires. Does it hurt to perish like this? It does. Is it fair? It is. The chaotic burst of violence that bloodied the streets of Kamarog ends just as abruptly as it erupted. Such is life in the spires. Okay. Alright. Let's see. Looks like my main character is level 16. Warrior Archmilitant, Pascal Operative Grand Strategist, Abelard Warrior Vanguard, Cassia Officer Grand Strat, Argenta Soldier Bounty Hunter, and I made a Companion and Officer Master Tactician. So, now you do not have to do this, but some tips if you want them. You've got 2 people that are Grand Strategists. You only need 1 of those. The Grand Strategist always goes first, and they get to choose the big buff areas on the battlefields. They like draw those big squares on the ground. You've got Pascal and Cassia both as Grand Strategists. If you've got the DLCs, I'm currently using Pascal as the Overseer. So he's got the Cyber Eagle that's giving him backup. It's really nice. I have Cass as Grand Strategist on mine also. Abelard Warrior Vanguard is perfect. That's like super tanky. Argenta, you've got her as Soldier Bounty Hunter. I like her as Soldier Archmilitant. But that makes a lot of use of gun. And I don't know if you like that or not. Honestly, if you don't like using gun, you're probably going to put Argenta on the bench as soon as you get enough people to do so. Let's see, goods. Scourge's Adrenaline Glands. Okay. Set up here again. She's too good, though. She is. My first playthrough on hard mode with her as Archmilitant. So Archmilitant gets a stacking buff whenever you use an attack different from your previous one. And when I had her with a bolter, and when she would do single shot, that counted as a type of attack. And when she would do spray of shots, that counted. So I always would just do single shot spray, single shot spray, single shot spray, and her damage kept going up. So like on the final boss of the game, which I won't say what it is, her first attack did like 10 damage, and her last attack did like 1,000. Because it just keeps going up. And that's something that Archmilitant does. And again, it was just stacking bonuses. Like, just, but that was with gun. It was either bolter or heavy bolter. But Archmilitant does the stacking thing every time you'd use a different attack.
There will be no peace in my wake.
Alright, quick save. Let's see if he says anything. Tervantius rushes about the laboratory, snatching up certain tools, vials, and notes. He conceals some of these items inside his own body cavities and destroys the rest. I have done what you wanted. The homunculus glares at you and roars furiously. This isn't what I desired. Not to this extent. The cult of the fatal thirst craves blood, specimen. Your blood. One must be astoundingly insensitive to the vibrations of the Dark City to not realize this. The homunculus notices Merizai. Draken Azaraish. After you went against the Archon of the Reaving Tempest, you decided to violate the wishes of the Archon of the Black Heart as well. You were thrown into the arena to die. You show wretched incompetence by defying your masters. My presence offends you, I see. Good. Merizai sneers and looks around. You've made yourself quite comfortable here in the chasm. Is this where you have kept the things that you dared not bring to the spire of the Reaving Tempest? It must be vexing, having to abandon it all as you flee the cult's wrath. One of the Tervantius' limbs twitches and strikes blindly. Only Merizai's reflexes saves him from a fatal neck wound, but the homunculus makes no further attempts to attack. It seems to care more about his substances and instruments than the insufferable Kabbalite. Why do the witches desire my death? You humiliated them, Monkey. Kay Karos and I agreed that she would send fresh meat against you, but she decided to undermine my authority by sending out her best. You slaughtered them, and so it was the cult's authority that suffered. But who cares about a pathetic Monkey? You are my lackey, and thus it is I who is responsible for undermining the cult's authority. You should be careful what you wish for, Xenos. And it wasn't enough for you to just kill them. You enticed one of the bloodstained proselytes to join the Monkey's side. As the entire chasm watched. A slap in the face of the cult wasn't enough for you. You decided to spit in its face as well. Oh, but there's more. I hope Kakarros and Sinisthoria are now writhing in horror at the mere thought that their headless subordinate have lost the Kabalite who was sentenced to death by Nazrakai himself. First, they decided to play at charity by making me a proselyte, and now they let me slip through their fingers? Oh, I wish I could see the succubus's face when she was given the news. You dispatched me to kill the witches. Are you telling me you did not anticipate such consequences? It was supposed to go differently. Your performance was supposed to be a lesson in respect, not a declaration of war. You would have killed someone unimportant and made the witches' vanity bleed. The witches would have received your head as a salve for their wounded pride. They would have been reminded for a time that I was still someone who could greatly complicate their existence. Instead, you have failed me, all of you. Kakarros did not keep her word, and you did not die in her trap. It is all your fault that things have spiraled out of control. So your original plan would have still had us dead, you self-dissected creep. I don't care about Kakarros. You promised to help me out of here. You hear mockery in Homunculus's voice. Forget the old promises, Monkey. This is war. My loyal servants are being slaughtered across the chasm. I cannot take any more specimens away with me, and the ones I've already packed are more valuable than you. Marazai's face suddenly changes. His mocking grin tone, he fixes his gaze on the homunculus. Into the spire of the Reaving Tempest, to hide under the wing of Eurymerus, an Archon fallen into disgrace. What an imprudent choice. You should run away from her and her troubles unless you are somehow connected to her crime. Tervantius glares at Marazai. You are not in a position to know about the Archon's plans before, much less now. And so unravel the rotten threads in the tapestry of fate. Alantok hears the true nature of the Dark Ones, a lie hidden behind sweet promises. Having learned from a cruel mistake, I foresaw this outcome. Yurliet, shut up! We're here because you betrayed us. Belated wisdom. So what's the plan? Hold on a sec. Alright, there you go. I will leave the anatomical opera and withdraw to the spire of the Reaving Tempest. The witches won't dare to settle their scores under the eye of my patrons, so the Cabal's valuable servant is safe from their ire. As for you, go out into the streets of the chasm and die. Or go to the arena and try to kill Kakarros. Even if you succeed, you'll still die. The homunculus mutters furiously and haughtily. I should have stopped wasting time on this idiocy long ago. All those pathetic simpletons did was weaken my focus and distract me from my masterpiece. At last I can devote all of myself to it. Don't be such a coward. Let us face them here and kill them. All of them. The homunculus's anxious movements slow to a halt, but the mandibles of his face twitch nervously. An unnecessary risk. This is not a hasty retreat, merely a temporary change of workplace. He becomes so absorbed in his thoughts that he starts shearing off pieces of his own flesh with scissor-like claws. That staircase just came down. Enter the arena. The succubi will not pass up the chance to gut you in front of an audience. If you could simply wound Kakarros, it would give us both enough time to escape. For that, I would be willing to sacrifice the deadliest and most valuable specimens in my collection. If you manage to kill her, run. Sinisthoria will not let such impertinence go unpunished, and her wrath is 100-fold more dangerous than Kakarros' fury. Do not return to the chasm, you will find no shelter there. Seek salvation in other spires, and you may prolong your agony for a short time. Since you're intent on fleeing, you might as well release my companions. Find the sarcophagus where Heinrichs is being held. I cannot transport them to my new sanctuary. You may take them. I have unlocked the containment sarcophagi for dangerous specimens. Go and inspect them. Some of your servants may still be alive, but do not allow them to use their abilities until I have left the anatomical opera. I have found some materials. Are they suitable for your new monster? The homunculus digs through the chunks of flesh with enthusiasm of a hungry vulture. Finally, he snaps. Good materials, good specimen. Bring me more. Malice's hide? The commissar's head? And Katano's pain inverter. Tervantius examines the bloodied body parts with lascivious interest. Then he rips an organ out of his own chest, adds it to the trophies, and hisses in satisfaction. An interesting composition, an unusual set of starting parameters that can be strengthened by an original mixture of essences. This will be a mighty beast. I will call it the Anguish Prospector. You have done well, Specimen, and for that you will be rewarded. Gladiator Mesh Armor. Okay. Tervantius is silent for a few moments. To repay Kakaros for her treachery, I will send the Anguish Prospector to the arena. While the witches are preoccupied with ending your life, the Prospector will kill several of them. Regardless, it is too conspicuous for me to hide from the cult's huntresses. Let my creation perform the symphony of pain for which it was designed. Allow me to take the Space Marine. Hold out the bag of samples. It will do. Neuro Agonizer. So be it. You've earned a few minutes of my attention. The answer is still no. This particular Monkey specimen has phenomenal parameters. I previously studied 2 other specimens of the same breed, but have yet to untangle their genetic secrets. He also performs well enough in the arena, I will not part with the last specimen. The loss of some Monkey could never impede the work of a mind as great as yours. Perhaps the genetic subtype of all 3 specimens was defective, and this is the cause of my limited success. In that case, the loss of the specimen would not be significant. I recommend pain as a means of pacification, and you could take his armor. I found it entirely unintriguing. He hands you a bone key. Oh, yes! With a weary sigh, he turns away from you, his knife-like fingers making unnerving scraping. Okay, so Heinrichs and the Astartes.
Curiosity sings in my veins.
Alright, so... that's the thing that Cassia's in if you bring Cassia here, but I didn't. What is that? Spider's web. The spider's web? Okay. The torture device is locked and sealed. The thick walls of this container were clearly designed to hold something extremely dangerous. Wait, what? Where's Heinrichs?
Patience! My nerves are frayed!
The dead Lacerax's hide and flesh have been burned to the bone. The mutilated bodies of the prisoners have fused together into a large pile that gives off a caustic smell of rot. Release the Chimera. Okay. There's a bunch of switches here. Wait, what? Where is Heinrichs? The chute sends spent materials to the corpse dump. Materials such as you. You need to talk to one of the dudes. Execution Engine Master. The Drakari who is leaning over a body encased in a strange sarcophagus-like device turns around. The Xenos' face is covered by a mirrored mask and he is holding tools of some kind. They more closely resemble a torturer's implements than those of a chirurgeon. A guttural hiss comes from behind the mask. What do you want, cattle? Examine the body inside the sarcophagus. You instantly recognize the man who is pinned with hooks and bonds to the numerous needles sticking out of the bowels of the device. Despite the deathly pale, bloodless tone of his skin, interrogator Heinrichs von Kalox is still alive, judging by his weakly rising and falling chest and his frantically wandering half-open eyes. His head is tightly encircled by a wide metallic band, blood is seeping from underneath it. The Drakari notices your interest and grabs his weapon. Get out, cattle. Coercion 85%. Step away from the contraption and I shall let you live. Failed. No! Who are you to order me around, cattle? Out! Or you will be the next one up for extraction after this monkey. Kill the Xenos. Let me just slowly get my shield out here. The body inside the sarcophagus is not moving. Heinrichs appears to have no awareness of his surroundings, his clouded gaze directed at you. Heinrichs, it's Mukluk. Can you hear me? Heinrichs moves ever so slightly. You get a good look at his eyes now. The pupils are constricted to the size of pinheads. He's blind. His bitten, bloodied lips begin to move. To the warp with you, beast. I've heard all this before. You won't trick me again. To the warp with me! A splendid idea, but I am taking you with me, or else Calcazar will have my head on a platter. What? He winces at your words. That monster couldn't have known the Lord Inquisitor's name. Which means, Mukluk, you're alive. Thank the Golden Throne. Find a way to get me out of this coffin. Now that I think about it, I'd rather leave you here. Bye. Why is that a choice? That's so mean. Yeah, I just wanted you to look me in the eyes before I dipped. Release Heinrichs from the device. You cut the tubes, pull out the hooks and needles, and free Heinrichs from the bonds. He almost falls out of the Drakari device, just managing to stay on his feet. He gestures feebly at his eyes. I can't see a thing. Give me a moment to ascertain what they've done to me. The air around him grows noticeably colder. Blasted, I can't sense my body. So he's trying to use biomancy right now. What happened to you after we were captured? They moved me multiple times from one place to another, but what those places were, I cannot say. I saw spires in the ocean of mist. I saw the bowels of a Drakari ship. I almost broke free once. Few things frighten the Xenos as much as warp powers. I was close. He shakes his head. One might consider my words heretical, but I would say it was only due to the homunculus who brought me here that I survived after falling in that struggle. From there, it was just this place, this coffin, and pain. Did they blind you? No. No, I don't think so. It is likely just my body reacting to extended bouts of pain. He chuckles bitterly. To think that I have forgotten what it's like to experience such basic impulses. As a biomancer, I can stifle my physical reactions. Perhaps that is why I was chosen for this device. Because I had distanced myself from the sensation of pain. And because of my stubbornness that forbade me from surrendering. You cannot sense your body. What does that mean exactly? If I knew, I wouldn't be pondering the question right now, Mukluk. I think... He pauses, seemingly listening to something. The circlet on my head wasn't inhibiting my abilities, it was turning them inward, binding them inside my body. They made me torture myself with warp energies. I was burning and mutilating my internal organs. Damn Xenos. He clenches his fists in fury and immediately winces from pain. Can you walk? We don't have much time. I can move, yes. Warp, take them. I feel like my nerves have been turned inside out and then sewn back like that. For the time being, I will have to suffer pain whenever I take a step until I recuperate. Now that I am free to use my powers again, it's entirely achievable. He barely manages to tear his hateful gaze away from the Drakari when he notices Yurliet standing next to him and lets out an agonized groan. Mukluk, you must be joking. So I have Yurliet and Marzipan with us, who are the two people responsible for us being down here. Why don't we talk about this later? He shakes his head as if chasing away an excruciating dream. Enough. Nothing I hear will reassure me. He looks in your direction and blinks his feeble eyes. We can go, but you will have to guide me for a little while. Alright. Do that. Okay, so... No. Let's level him up. Let's see, 40, 65... His lore Xenos is 100. Corrals... I've got higher corrals. Psi rating increased by 1 every time an ally uses a heroic act. When the Psyker uses a divination psychic power on an ally without an unnatural luck effect, they gain unnatural luck. When they would next suffer a crit, it becomes a normal hit instead, and the luck is removed. That's decent.